Alô? Alô, alô? Se a gente der sorte, quase não interrompe as fitas. Pois é, né? Eu já tenho uma estratégia pra isso. Aumentou de E para D. Ué, aumentou? Falha? Por que falhou? Eu nem tô jogando FOB, porque se eu não sei se eu jogar FOB e tudo mais, é só ficar sempre no helicóptero e ir lá fazer o jogo online, né? Mas eu tenho receio que daí do nada eu parece uma cinemática, entendeu? Eu não sei, então eu evito. Então só vou jogar mesmo quando... Ah, tá aqui. Arma nuclear. Eu preciso de... 70... Não, pera. Puta que pariu, tudo isso? Tá bom. 15 fitas. 15 fitas, eu estou arranhando. Vou fazer o seguinte, eu vou fazer umas FOB missions. Isso daqui é tudo no... Ah, não é tudo. Tem uns na África. Pensei que ia ser tudo no Afeganistão, mas não. Bom, vamos lá. E vou ouvindo as fitas cassete. Vou pra cá, mais curto. Vai assim mesmo. Ah, eu estou arranhando, esquenta. E quando esquenta, meu nariz fica uma merda. Então, a arma nuclear ela serve mais pro jogo online. Que daí, se eu tiver uma arma nuclear, os outros jogadores não podem invadir a minha base. Apenas quem tem um heroísmo bem alto. Ou seja, quem tem um level alto. Você tá pronto pro evento? Não. Mas eu vou daí terminar a live lá por volta de umas 4, talvez. Que tem que, ao mesmo tempo, tem que render. Ué. Ah, tá, porque eu upei. Outra troca, permite que seus portfólios por recompensa como equipe e materiais. Pode permitir soldados melhor mais recursos, contribuir com o conhecimento da Diamond Dogs. Ah, alguém invadiu. Pelo visto. Alguém me invadiu. Hoje. Perdeu, aí ganhou. Eu ganhei no caso. Tá. Ué, tem que fazer de novo? Vou esperar você pra jogar, mas talvez eu abra antes só pra ver como tá lá. Tô em quinto, na classificação D. Ah, tá aqui, trocar pontos. Eu tenho esses pontos, eu posso pegar esses homens então. Caralho, mas eu tenho muito ponto em muito homem SS. Nossa, mas eu vou upar pra caralho dele. Vou chegar até no... Aí, pronto, chega. Amor, você tá fazendo burrice. O que eu fiz? Eu não comprei homem? Não, eu comprei homem. Não devia mesmo. Você comprou assim? Eu tava comprando mesmo. A intenção era comprar mesmo. Aqui, ó. Mas devia ter pego das partes que você tem level mais baixo. Sim, sim, eu sei, mas eu... Como eu tô upando tudo ao mesmo tempo, daí eu só fui catando até chegar no dígito 10 ali. Aí depois eu vejo se direito. A intenção foi isso mesmo, foi comprar a blind. Vamos ver aqui. Tem fita para um caralho, velho. Vamos lá, o Homem Chamas. O que aconteceu depois com o Homem Chamas?
You mentioned that the man on fire was crushed under Sahelanthropus in its hangar.
Yeah. He was caught under the wheels of his transport platform.
But his body wasn't found.
What?
We searched the area the moment we arrived, but there was no trace of him.
I wasn't hallucinating.
I know. I trust you on that. That means someone must have taken the body. When I got there, everything was still as it was. Even Skullface hadn't been touched. I can't see a reason to sneak into a place like that and drag out the biggest, heaviest guy there.
What are you getting at?
The only option left is... he got up and walked away.
That platform ran him over.
Just ran him over.
You're saying that's not enough?
I don't want to believe it, but maybe not. He shrugs off bullets, even rocket strikes. There's no reason to think that would finish him. Seems ridiculous, but I'll start gathering eyewitness accounts just in case.
If you dig up anything concrete, I want to know.
You'll be the first, if I dig anything up. But I hope to hell I don't.
No kidding.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Homem Chamas 3, The Man on Fire.
Volgan, the GRU colonel, was burned alive with a Shagohod during Operation Snake Eater 20 years ago. Despite suffering severe burns to his entire body, he still clung to life. After you left Seleniarsk, Volgan's body was taken to a research institute in the outskirts of Moscow. But modern medicine couldn't explain why he was still alive. Not that the colonel was any ordinary man to begin with. That constant electric current he had running through his body that he could unleash at will. To be honest, I was always uncomfortable around him. Thought I might get electrocuted just by standing nearby. The institute studying him was tasked with investigating and developing human paranormal abilities. The comatose Volgan was used to further the Soviet Union's research into such abilities. But not long ago, the facility burned to the ground, and Volgan's body was never found among the rubble, even though the fire started in the room where they were keeping him. This occurred at around the same time you woke up. If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge can turn a man into a demon and keep the dead alive, then this man on fire who's been coming after us ever since you woke up, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgan. It's not over yet. Back in '64, in Seleniarsk, you brought his plans for a utopia down in flames. That grudge is what's keeping him alive. The day the facility holding Volgan burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger jet happened to crash nearby, far away to the north of that hospital in Cyprus. On board the plane was a young boy who was being studied at the same facility. The plane fell to Earth from over 8,000 feet, but the boy's body was the only one not recovered. At almost exactly the same time as the crash, Volgan awoke in that facility. According to the Research Institute's documents, the gifts this boy demonstrated included psychokinesis, and telepathy. To protect his mind from being inundated with other people's thoughts, he always wore a kind of gas mask.
Realmente.
A rudimentary form of psychic insulation, apparently. We don't know where this boy is, but if Skullface is connected to him, we may cross paths with him yet. This boy is part of a new age, where nothing we understand about the world makes sense anymore. Don't let your guard down.
Já tá virando amiguinho do Liquid. É, Brody de idade. Sabe quando as crianças se encontram e viram um amiguinho? Parasita das cordas vocais, a casa do diabo.
So what were they doing at Nzoia Badia, Baloo? That facility with all the people laid out in rows.
The abandoned factory Shabani was held in. It is precisely as you guessed. Black Anna was coding languages into the vocal cord parasites. They infected the subjects with the parasites, then made an incision in the throat to expose the vocal cords. That allowed them to play recordings of a desired language directly to the parasites. And the parasites learn the languages that way. That's some teaching method. I just don't get how a bunch of bugs had the brain power for it. They don't. Do not judge them by human standards. They do not learn as a function of intellect.
Then how do they do it?
What language the parasites react to is coded into their genes. You could expose the Japanese strain to English for years, and it would never learn the language and react to it. The pronunciation, rhythm, and structure are different. But what about, say, Spanish and Portuguese? Linguistically, the two are very close.
Yeah, they're both Ibero-Romance languages.
Even so, a Spanish language made
Really?
exposed to Portuguese will not copulate. Only when they hear Spanish. Only then. And the majority of their offspring will be the same.
So it's a literal case of a mother tongue. But if that's so, I don't see how the different strains can be created in the first place.
Well, among the many thousands of offspring, there may be just a few that react to Portuguese.
You're talking about mutations.
Correct. Playing the tapes helps to identify the mutant strains. Those specimens are then isolated and bred with one another. From their children, specimens that react most strongly to Portuguese can again be selected and bred. Repeating this process creates a strain that reacts solely to Portuguese and never to Spanish. Mutation and selection. No different to breeding roses.
So you kept increasing the change over the generations, adapting them to languages from all over the world. Must have taken a hell of a lot of patience.
More like patience. Just how many died for this?
There's something I still don't get. In order to tell which larvae will react to Portuguese, you have to let them develop and then see which copulate. That means you need tens of thousands of guinea pigs. There's no way you could do that in a facility that small.
For normal selective breeding methods, you would be right. But there is a more effective selection method when training the vocal cord parasites. Go on. It is not only when mating that the parasites listen for language. Shortly before hatching, larvae display markedly increased activity in reaction to particular language. The active eggs can be identified under a black light. So the eggs that react to Portuguese are selectively placed in the throats of subjects. So you see, narrowing down strains that react to the target language.
Estão treinando eles igual o cachorro.
Though I'm sure that even so,
Basicamente.
many lost their lives to create the various strains. Taken against their will into that dungeon. There are two reasons for playing the tapes for the parasites. One, to isolate the eggs that respond to the target language. And two, to cause the specimens raised from the selected eggs to mate.
I get how the system works. But why do they respond to language before they even hatch? It's not like they can mate from inside an egg.
It is because the larvae learn the language before hatching.
You mentioned that what language the parasites respond to is hard-coded into their genes, and that they don't have the brain power to actually learn a language. But then you say that the larvae at Nzoia Badia Bulu were learning the languages in the egg. Your story doesn't add up.
Your country is home to a unique songbird. The Japanese bush warbler.
Sure, what of it?
What a beautiful call it has. But no bush warbler can sing it perfectly at the start. As chicks, they can barely chirp at all. They must learn from their parents and other adult birds. Only then can they sing properly and attract females. So naturally, there are individual differences in each bird's call. Though they start on the same footing, each bird is influenced by its teachers.
And the parasites are the same?
Like the birds, have a genetic predisposition towards a particular language. But while in the egg, the larvae's ears are tweaked by listening to the voice of the host. This tweaking ensures that the grown parasites will react better to the host's speech pattern.
Why would they have an ability like
He's
that?
coming too. Roger that.
There are distinct regional differences within even the
Os
same.
caras interrompendo a fita.
Rare is a language that has no unique dialects. Yes, learning the host's speech pattern before hatching attunes the larvae to whatever twist of pronunciation it will encounter. This adaptive ability is what makes them so formidable.
I see. So a language requires selective breeding, but the parasite can learn dialects by themselves.
Meu Deus, cara, eu tô indo embora.
Stage larvae
Deixa eu continuar a
the
fita.
tapes in the factory was not meant to teach them. It was more important to use that trait of theirs to identify the mutated strains. As I mentioned earlier,
Is that really accurate enough to use as a weapon? You could wipe out a neighboring ethnic group by accident if their pronunciation is too close.
what you say is true. In that sense, they are imperfect as ethnic cleansers. But for his purposes, they are good enough. His objective was not to exterminate any one ethnic group, but to render the world's lingua franca, English, inert.
Beleza. Eu pego uma música, eu nem escuto. Ah, o Final Countdown. Esse deve dar um copyright fudido. Putz,
Caution. Sandstorm approaching.
I have no doubt Skullface's plan is almost complete. At that point, I will no longer be of use to him.
Eu podia parar sozinho se tem gente falando por cima, né? Ia ser de muita ajuda, viu?
A record of how the ancient vocal cord parasites became these abominable ethnic cleansing parasites.
Meu Deus.
I believe he has two purposes for the ethnic cleansing parasites. The first, as their name suggests, is ethnic cleansing.
Morri.
This conflict between
Snake, talk to me! Snake!
Ah. Porra, mano.
Mission
O
list
buracão
updated.
interrompeu a fita, velho. Isso pode.
I have no doubt Skullface's plan is almost complete. At that point, I will no longer be of use to him. I must leave behind this record at least. A record of how the ancient vocal cord parasites became these abominable ethnic
Tá, essa fita provavelmente é antes de eu ter botado ele na Mother Base, né?
For the ethnic cleansing parasites. The first, as their name suggests, is ethnic cleansing. This West that envelops the world will not last much longer. Once the Cold War ends, and the weight of America and the Soviet Union is lifted away, the ethnic conflicts they kept suppressed will all rise to the surface. It is not difficult to imagine that the radical sides will begin cleansing their adversaries. But what if an ethnic cleansing parasite matching the language
É basicamente a Torre de Babel ou ao contrário, esse parasita.
the aggressors would be washed off the earth. At the very least, the idea that retaliation could eradicate your people would prove a powerful deterrent. The second purpose is the Englishization of the world. To cipher the organization, this is probably their main use. Man thinks in words, or rather, words are man's very means of thinking. If you erase a word representing some concept, the concept itself disappears from the world.
Eu imagino que tenha sido disso que começou as modificações genéticas que a gente vê no Metal Gear Solid. Sim.
Image that comes to mind when we say Nishone.
Incluindo Fox Die, né?
Anna's beautiful. An azure sky. A rolling landscape. Lush greenery. The meaning we place in Nishone has its roots in Dene culture. If we lose the word Nishone, the images of our beautiful homeland would be washed away into oblivion along with it. Just as Orwell indicated years ago, Cipher, being based in America, is pushing Englishization for this very reason. Suppose all 5 billion people on this planet come to read, speak, and think in English. Their wills could also be streamlined under English. Cipher's control would be all the easier. Economic governance would progress in leaps and bounds. The ethnic cleansing parasites would be a great aid in accomplishing this goal. There is no need to destroy every language besides English. All they need to do is weaken other dominant languages.
Eu já leio, terminando a fita eu leio.
With it.
Senão muita coisa.
Chinese, Arabic. If people know they risk their lives speaking such languages, they will flock to the lingua franca that is English. Cipher need not even focus attention on smaller languages. After all, they are already being eaten away by English. Business, education, film, commodities. English has permeated every area of global society. I can see this when I look at young Dene. Some of them
Não.
have already lost their grasp of the Navajo language. It is said that over 2,000 languages of the world are facing extinction. This very moment, cultural concepts and forms of expression are disappearing forever. The spread of electronic networks gives greater meaning to Englishization. Networks have no national borders, but basing them on a single language, they can penetrate deeper into and between people. That basic point of unity provides the ideal environment for someone who aims to control people's wills. But how does this differ from building the Tower of Babel?
Acabou de falar da Torre de Babel, olha só.
Cleansing parasites attempt to rob man of his words. Such irony. It was the vocal cord parasites that gave words to him in the
Eu vou dar uma pausa, essa fita aqui é de 6 minutos.
man had no language,
Pra eu ler o chat.
unable to produce
O que faz sentido se a gente imaginar que muito provavelmente é uma relação simbiótica do parasita com o hospedeiro, e muito provavelmente é uma mudança genética que poderia ser passada de frente sem a necessidade de parasita, sim. É basicamente isso. E claramente o Kojima ficou muito bravo de ter que aprender inglês pra fazer o jogo, né? Eu acho que sim, hein.
due to the structure of the throat. He could communicate only through simple vocalizations and gestures. Then the vocal cord parasites infected his larynx. Man's transition to walking upright did not gift him solely with intelligence.
O cara fez um jogo inteiro sobre como ele odeia inglês.
At the time, the vocal cord parasites never harmed man. They merely took a small measure of nourishment. In fact, you could call it a symbiotic relationship. Some animal species use particular vocalization patterns to attract a female and reproduce. Songbirds, certain insects, and also the vocal cord parasites. The difference is that the parasites themselves did not produce sounds. Rather, they had their host, man, do it for them. Once secure on the human host vocal cords, a male vocal cord parasite caused the host to produce a certain sound pattern. Something like a
Caminho errado.
of a bird. Meanwhile, females parasitizing other host pharynxes need only wait. Upon hearing the sound pattern of an attractive mate, they would manipulate their hosts into making contact with the person it came from. The female traveled through his host's saliva to the other host's vocal cords, where the male was waiting and the pair copulated. We can only imagine how the female manipulated his host, but it was probably through smell. Smells traveled directly to the limbic system via the olfactory cilia in the nasal cavity. Volatile compounds released by the female would stimulate the limbic system, which controls instincts, making the host feel amorous. This kind of sexual selection naturally led to competition between the male parasites. Males that had their hosts produce sounds perceived by females as more attractive succeeded in copulating and producing offspring. Evolutionary traits caused by sexual selection are curious. The peacock's feathers, the mannequin's dance, the firefly's luminescence pattern. Even with courtship behaviors that are not advantageous to survival, those individuals that excel in them produce offspring, and it escalates with each generation. The same was true of the vocal cord parasites. Courtship vocalization rhythms and intonations became more sophisticated, and in order for man to produce such sounds, they had to alter his vocal organs. By lowering the position of the larynx and developing resonating chambers, they enabled more complex pronunciations. But that was not all.
Os caras conversando estão me interrompendo também, velho.
Activated a transcription factor that would later control man's language ability. A protein that due to its appearance is called 4-kid box protein P2. Activating this transcription factor led to the development of brain function capable of creating sophisticated frequency changes. This was the pinnacle of the vocal cord parasite's prosperity.
Ninguém deixou eu ver a fita, não, mano. Eu tenho que ficar no helicóptero, com a bunda sentada e escutar a fita.
Once human sexual activity ceased to be only seasonal, and having lost pigment-based sexual characteristics, distinctive vocalizations became the most effective means for humans to attract mates as well.
Aí a Cord fica brava, não tem fazendo nada pra fazer nela, fica lá
Hardwired into the brain.
encarando.
Universal grammar. It was not long before advanced communication was possible. This was the birth of language. Luckily for man, it was around this time that a particular retrovirus was circulating. While not lethal, it infected not only man, but the vocal cord parasites as well. It is presumed that this virus removed part of the parasite's DNA and reverse transcribed it into man's reproductive cells. It was a factor, Among the genes it transcribed were the ones responsible for the production of language. The vocal cord parasite's vocalization genes were written into the human genome. The parasites were no longer of any use to man now. Man could use his voice as he pleased, when he pleased, hindering the parasite's courtship vocalizations. Having lost their opportunity to reproduce, the parasites died out, leaving behind only the transcribed genes. The vocal cord parasites were once in symbiosis with man. Its genes even became a part of his. Humans and parasites are extremely close. As such, it will be extremely difficult for man's immune system to eliminate the vocal cord parasites. Even cutting them out will be no simple matter, which is exactly why these ethnic cleansing parasites are such a formidable weapon. The rise of the vocal cord parasites goes back approximately 300 million years to the Permian period. At that time, they were not even parasites, but predatory autotrophs. They are believed to have been the common ancestor to the Pentastomida and the Cyclops genus of copepods. However, Earth's environment underwent a violent change at the end of the Permian period. The cause is unclear, but evidence suggests that over 90% of the Earth's organisms at that time died out. The most pronounced threat to the protoparasites was the severe reduction in oxygen concentration. The result was cladogenesis, a splitting that gave birth to a new strain that could parasitize other organisms' respiratory apparatus. This survival tactic helped lower their oxygen consumption, and inhabiting the throat kept them securely in contact with inhaled air. The best survivors were those that parasitized the reptiles that flourished at the time.
Whoosh.
Entering the Triassic period, the reptiles evolved into dinosaurs, and the protoparasites shared in their success. Dinosaurs developed respiratory.
A Quiet provavelmente pisou numa bomba, velho.
Organs called air sacs to adapt to the low oxygen environment. These in particular helped the protoparasites thrive. But another trial awaited them. The end of the Triassic period saw another drastic change in the Earth's environment. For most parasites, the male and female host. Many are, in fact,
Bem, em termos seria um tipo de vírus, não necessariamente parasita se ele é aeróbico. É, pior que sim.
strain to ride out a severe environmental change, it must secure a steady pool of genetic diversity. Another split. Now the newest strain procreated with mates found in other hosts. And in order to increase its encounters with those mates, the new strain utilized the voice of its host. They came to inhabit the host's vocal cords. This truly was the birth of the vocal cord parasite. The parasites developed the host's pharynx to form resonating chambers and used them to produce sophisticated mating calls. The relatively upright posture of the dinosaurs was important in this, because the crooked L-shaped pharynx was more
Aeróbico. Anaeróbico. Anaeróbico. Aeróbico é outro bagulho, velho. É no. Os bagulho no céu. Voante.
The parasites had a major hurdle to overcome. The meteorite impact at the end
Não
of the
tem cor, foi mal.
which spelled the end of the dinosaurs. With their hosts extinct, the vocal cord parasites had no option but to find a new habitat. Birds. As genetic successors to the dinosaurs, with functioning air sac apparatus already in place, birds were the perfect
Quer dizer que ele não precisa de oxigênio para sobreviver. É um bichinho filha da puta.
At high altitudes with thinner air. So they parasitized ground-dwelling birds and altered their respiratory system for the sake of reproduction. They gave the birds the means to produce sophisticated sounds. The syrinx responsible for chirping. This is the proof that points to activation of FOXP2 in songbirds as well as humans. The Cenozoic era began with a rise in oxygen concentration, which helped mammals to evolve and increase in size. The parasites then shifted to humans as a more effective host. Humans' bipedal upright walking meant that our throats could support larger resonating chambers. At first, vocal cord parasites entered humans using birds as their intermediate host. But eventually, that's the target. To conducting their entire life cycle within human hosts. What happened next is as I have already described. People took the vocalizing prowess given them by the parasites.
Cara, eu só queria ouvir a fita.
And once the parasites could no longer use it as their mating call, they died out. Or in other words, the parasites overcame all evolutionary hurdles except humanity. Skullface shared his opinion on this matter. He said the Ethnic Cleansers Project was sure to succeed. After all, the parasites had a grudge against us humans. To think we awoke them after such a long slumber, just so they could sate their thirst for vengeance. It is terrible, unforgivable, and yet, it is what I have done. I learned of the vocal cord parasite's existence in literature belonging to the Foundation. It was little more than a theory. The question was, why does only Homo sapiens among all primates have a highly developed language?
Calma aí.
Human versus everything else. The missing link between these was the mystery of the game.
Ouvindo a fita 4. Fita 4 das parasitas. Eu vou pra África. Eu vou pra África. Eu vou lá pro Totô.
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid. Boss, some of the kids we've been keeping here have escaped. We don't know why they ran off, but it may have something to do with Ralph's death. The intel teams are looking for them as we speak. I'll add information to your side ops list as it comes in. You need to locate.
Meu Deus, ligaram o liquidificador aqui, calma aí.
Find out what happened.
Please select a mission. Unit dispatched. Please select a landing zone. Heading to Central Africa.
Eu voltei, pronto. Tá, eu vou continuar ouvindo a fita lá. Mas enquanto isso eu vou botar missão pra pegar essas crianças que provavelmente estão fugindo do Liquid, né? Não tem muito. Saca, não tem muito o que pensar, não. Muito provavelmente as crianças estão fugindo do Liquid. Muito provavelmente foi ele que matou uma das crianças lá, o Ralph. Tinha mais uma roupa pra você fazer. Tinha? Nem vi. Ou é a mesma, só que melhorada. Tem essa também. E eu não sei se do Liquid ou do Mantis. É verdade, né? Tem um Mantis. Não sei se as crianças podem ver o Mantis lá, né? O Mantis tá precisando só pro Liquid. Uma dessas crianças viu lá com o Liquid e ficou... Não. Não, 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 não. Tem um ruivo voador com máscara de gás. Eu vou me dar o pack daqui. Tá, vamos lá ouvir a fita que eu tava no Parasitas 4. A quarta fita, né? Não. Aqui. Tava aqui. Peraí, só deixa eu... Pronto. Dá oi pra mim. Oxi! Não fui eu que fiz isso. Tá. Não fui eu, não. Caralho, mano.
With the vocal cord parasites, but I had not the faintest idea of how I could resurrect them. That is when Skullface came to me. What he offered me was not just assistance with my metallic archaea research.
Tem um
He told
helicóptero.
me the vocal cord parasites really existed, and not only did they exist, they had already been brought back to life in the modern age. An ancient human cadaver, host to the parasites of the time. Cypher excavated
Pegaram de um defunto muito antigo.
region and isolated the DNA coding of the vocal cord parasites. Naturally, they were long dead and could not be brought back. But there was an alternate vessel they could use.
Boss, you need to find those kids who escaped.
Caralho, Cássio.
Fighting's still the only way of life they know. If we don't bring them back,
Puta
they'll
que
just
pariu,
end up
Cássio.
getting killed.
Animal hosts.
Boss, if we develop a child-sized Fulton recovery device, we'll be able to extract those kids. Send the development order from your iDroid if you need it.
But there was an alternate vessel they could use. A relative species of the Pentastomida discovered in China. It had adapted to live in the nasal cavity of animal
Alguém manda o Cássio calar a boca.
but its genetic
O boss.
sequence showed signs of common ancestry with the vocal cord parasites. Ontogenesis, a path of an organism to maturity, is like a roadmap of the phylogenetic evolution of the entire strain. Cypher used this to effect a reverse evolution of the modern parasite and resurrect the vocal cord parasites. They interposed a developmental mechanism to the ontogenetic stage analogous to when the relative species first appeared. The point at which it split from the vocal cord parasites, forcing its evolution down the other
Tentar
path.
achar um caminho alternativo que não seja o portão na frente.
The larvae is produced by the vocal cord parasites, reborn. I do not know in detail how Cypher accomplished this, but clearly they have access to a high-level genetic technology. Skullface said it was the work of a genius woman scientist, and that the relative species in question was first discovered by a group once called the Philosophers. I was tasked with modifying the resurrected parasites. He charged me with two demands. First, to add lethality to these organisms that had once lived in peace with man, by unleashing the larvae's latent desire to
Consigo
consume
subir aqui.
humans from the host's lung tissue, making them eat and eat until the lungs were destroyed. Second, to have both male and female inhabit the same host and copulate then and there, only when exposed to specific pronunciations continuously over an extended time. What he would do to the Dene if I failed. I had no choice. Originally, the ultimate objective of the ethnic cleansing parasite project was the identification of not only languages, but of actual cultures. Language is deeply connected to ethnicity, but many languages are employed by multiple ethnic groups, and confrontation between those
Não vai ser
ethnic
fácil.
groups is by no means rare. If the cleanser parasites were to be a deterrent against ethnic conflict, they had to distinguish between groups using means other than pure language. The original plan called for this to be achieved by differences in the transmission vector. Each ethnic group has different lifestyle customs and eating habits. For instance, parasites living in shallow water and taken in through the skin could be used to target rice farming groups, or parasites using cows as their intermediate host would be ineffective against cultures that abstain from eating beef. But that is a lofty goal indeed. The current parasites mainly rely on droplet transmission. It would take extensive time to alter the transmission route. I eventually learned that the Ethnic Cleansers project had been shut down. It was Skullface who put it back into operation. But despite that, he told me to forget about the transmission route and just focus on language identification. I do not know why. I understand that the Chinese philosophers who discovered the relative species of parasite originally planned to develop the phonogrammic Alexia parasite. The left temporal parietal region is home to the part of the brain that identifies the phonetic symbols of the English language. They wished to create a strain that would parasitize that region and suppress its literacy functions. The brain area responsible for identifying the logographs of Chinese, meanwhile, is in the left middle frontal gyrus, meaning that even if native speakers of Chinese were infected with the parasite, the literacy would be unaffected. Old and new, east and west, there is no limit to the delusions of those in power. But this delusion threatens to become a reality. I have to
Fui
do something
tapeado.
to stop this. There must be something I can do.
Tá. A gente tomou uma enxurrada de informações sobre os parasitas, mas a gente deu para entender melhor a origem dele. Merda, 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 merda. Tem um caminhão vindo. Foi basicamente um Jurassic Park. Espero muito que o helicóptero não veja a gente aqui. Tentar esconder a criança aqui na caixa. Olha uma câmera? Não. Deixa eu ver onde eu posso chamar o helicóptero. Tá cá.
Support helicopter requested. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Run, Peach, run. A criança tá tão pesada assim. Aproveitar e já vejo onde tá a outra criança. É o que eu vou salvar. Meu irmão é do outro lado do mapa. Meio longe. Eu não ia pegar o helicóptero, mas agora eu vou pegar o helicóptero. Né, corte? Cobertura. A deitar. Understand, never give you up. Nossa, mano, tá muito quente hoje, velho. Esqueci de mandar as propagandas que ele refez o vídeo. Que? Ah, do Rick Roll. O cara ainda tem 9 fitas, meu irmão. Nossa, o Pia tá lá sei lá, casa, mansão. Uma casa muito grande. Vou assim mesmo que eu tô preparado. Do Rick Stelling. Não, pra mim é Rick Roll. Mas no resumo foi pra uma empresa de seguro. What the fuck? Foi mais aleatório ainda. Vamos lá, let's go. Ops. Objetivo de Skullface.
A ruler's greatest wealth is not money or land. It is the number of individuals under his control. Subjects who work, consume, are there to be used as pawns in war.
Ah, não consigo.
For a capitalist ruler, his people's power becomes his power. You are the same. With your diamond dogs, you spin it with your speeches. But what you're doing is bringing as much talent as you can into your little domain.
Não, faz sentido com a música, já que ele nunca vai te abandonar e tal. É... bom marketing.
Yes. Since ancient times, every civilization's ruler has had the same idea. When people unite under one will, they become stronger than the sum of their parts. And the one will is the ruler's will. And what do rulers use to bring people together? Language. In the Old Testament,
Snake nem abre a boca no Peace Walker. Ele fazia uns discursos da hora, né? Aqui ele tá meio morno, né?
a shared tongue that united all of humanity. Mankind eventually grew aware of its power.
According to the intel, the escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them.
Mighty Tower of Babel.
Boss,
Posso até carregar.
size Fulton recovery device. You'll be able to extract those kids. Send the development order from your iDroid if you need it.
Eu não consigo rebobinar, por quê?
Mankind eventually grew aware
Aí.
of its power and harnessed
Esse jogo Cass fala mais que a boca.
to the heavens.
Mas que a boca, Snake nem abre a boca. É, pois é.
This angered God, who splintered the language of man, and the tower was never completed. Languages emerged, and the earth was divided as men went their separate ways. Every age is the same. A ruler's first order of business, after conquering new land, is to force his tongue on its people. Ancient Rome, Napoleon, and now Zero. English is wreaking havoc
Sério?
around the world right now. The British Empire too.
Ai, ai.
They began planting the seed.
Pera, que barulho foi esse? Calma aí.
That is English.
Ouvi um treco aqui. Não sei o que foi, mas parece que o Simba derrubou alguma coisa e ficou pianinho.
American capitalism became the new instrument.
Na real, eu tava pensando agora, faz sentido que ele ter conseguido imitar o Cass tão bem no primeiro jogo. Para de ouvir ele.
By exploiting people's desires, English has become a leash that people gladly wear around their necks, it would seem.
Ah, mano. Quantas minas tem aqui, velho? Que eu não tô vendo? Ah, tem mais uma aqui.
Analysis complete.
Tem infestado. Por isso o moleque é revoltado. Imagina ter que ouvir o caso falando o dia inteiro, reclamando o dia inteiro, isso quer dizer, né? Falar é uma coisa, agora vai ficar reclamando o dia inteiro, vai tomar no cu. Todo dia uma reclamação diferente. Tomar no rabo. Meu irmão, eu sou uma caixa. Tá de capacetola. Na bunda. Pronto. Acertei o abraço. É. Mimir? Freezer! Esqueceu de ver a paz. Esqueci? Putz. Então depois dessa daqui, depois da criança, eu vou lá ver a paz.
Caution, rain approaching.
Cara, cadê a criança? Nem adianta botar fita aqui. It's Friday, I'm in love. Thursday, I don't. Friday, I'm in love. Lembra de ontem a pessoa foi ver ela, mas a menina tá. Lembra de ontem a pessoa foi ver, mas a menina tava passando mal. Verdade. Tinha me esquecido. Se eu fosse uma criança, onde eu estaria? Na creche. Você está vivo, não é possível. É, zoei tudo. Tem muito homem, eu não achei o menino em nenhum lugar, velho. Que caralho. Oxi! Da onde?
Boss, that's a serious injury. It won't heal on its own. You'll need to treat it with first aid.
Ai. Caralho, mano.
The map has been updated.
Cadê a criança, velho? Eu não consigo achar essa criança. Por isso que eu tô aqui, né? Eu sinto que é uma repetição da missão que tinha que achar o Vogue. Não, o que eu fiz? Eu pulei, não era pra ter pulado. Tá, a Quiet tá ajudando. Não, agora foi pro caralho mesmo. Eu só quero achar a criança, velho. Simplesmente a criança sumiu. Eu não consigo achar ela. Vai se fuder também. Boa sorte. Cara. Eu não consigo achar as crianças. Eu já vim aqui, né? Já vim aqui. Qual é que você tá sabendo da missão? É que você quer dizer? Ela tá me ajudando pra caralho agora, velho. Ela só escutou a baguncinha e veio. O problema é que eu não acho a criança. Eu não acho esse moleque, velho. Simplesmente a criança não existe. Tipo, eu jurava que ia ficar no mesmo lugar que o velho. Mas tá trancado. Oh meu Deus do céu, por que você não quer pegar o cara? Ele não tá aqui, velho. Tá pra lá. Criança, eu te achei. Eu te achei. Tá, sim, tá num lugar tosco igual o Vogue. Tava aqui nesse cantinho, velho. Tá.
Please select support helicopter requested. O cara tá meio perdido ali. Ah, mano. Ah, tomar no rabo, velho. Ai, mano.
Boss, you killed a child.
Eu não
I'm
matei.
aborting this mission.
Foi a bomba. Eu esqueci. Ah, mano. Tá, pelo menos assim onde tá a criança. O problema é que de dia eu não enxergo essas bombas, velho.
According to the intel team, the escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them. Boss, if we develop a child-sized Fulton recovery device, you'll be able to extract those kids. Send the development
Mas dá
order
pra
from
fazer?
your droid if you need it.
Podia ter desligado o óculos antes, né? Olha, eu posso. 36 minutos. Tá, o lugar mais seguro com certeza é a estrada, né? O caminhão passou ali e não explodiu.
Analysis complete.
Agora que eu sei que a criança tá lá na puta que pariu, eu vou ter que me virar aqui. Ou eu toco foda-se de novo. Bom, vamos tentar ir stealth mesmo. Uhum.
Waar gaan we aan? Ja, niet bewegen. Hey. Iemand is bezig.
E. Tenho quase certeza que tem gente aqui.
Die baas het die plan vir nagoorlog gefinaliseer. Hulle gaan vir almal in die eenheid flitslig wapens toebehoorde. Dis net so goed jy maak 'n manier hang af van wie jy dit kry. Hulle aansit om die pelle na jou te of jy kan verblind dan. Ja.
Uau! Sabia que tinha alguém aqui. Não consigo mirar. Nossa, ele se mexeu bem na hora. Se mexeu bem na hora. Se mexeu de novo. Boa, ficou quietinho.
The map has been updated.
Kom swaai.
Meu valor toma um copyright.
Caution, rain approaching.
Tá, vem cá, pior. Tentar ser meio ligeirinho ali. Acordaram. Aqui, pior. Corre, mané.
Please select landing zone.
Roger.
Support helicopter requested. Development.
Tem alguma coisa estranha por aqui. Algo de errado não está certo.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Tentando achar um caminho aqui que não tenha bomba, saca? Porque senão... Tudo de novo, velho. Eu não queria fazer tudo de novo. Acho que não tem mais bomba. E não dá pra ver direito, não tá de noite. A chuva não tá ajudando muito. Tá, espero que não tenha mais nada. Mas as crianças estão se organizando para se revoltar contra a gente? Como assim? Quem será que tá artimanhando tudo isso daqui? Quem é o psicopatinho? Eles são crianças, o que eles podem fazer? Alguém dá um brinquedo para essas crianças, por favor. Deixa eu ir lá pra Mother Base, daí eu já vou lá na paz.
Please select a heading to Mother Base.
Dá um Hot Wheels e deixa eles Dá um Hot Wheels pra eles. Mas tem que dar com a pistinha. Não é capaz do Liquid roubar o brinquedo e falar que é só dele. Tem esse perigo. Na real, eu acho que eu nem falei na hora. Mas não sei se notou que tinha umas referências do... Como é que é? Eu acho que é Senhor das Moscas. Eu sei que tem o livro, eu vi só o filme. Mas o Liquid é basicamente aquele psicopatinho lá do filme. Lord of the Flies, é isso daí. No começo do livro, eu não cheguei a ler o livro, eu só vi o filme. Eu vi o filme ainda no colégio, velho. Mas daí tipo tem a cabeça do porco lá quando a gente foi lá pela primeira vez. Tem o... Ele tem aquela... Como é que se chama agora? Não é ostra, nem fudendo aquilo mal. É uma concha. Aquela concha que eles assopravam. Quem tinha a concha lá podia falar. Daí tava ali no bolsinho do Liquid também. Concha, concha, isso. Ostra é outro bagulho lá. Amor, lançaram personagem novo no Overwatch. Hã? Isso quer dizer lançaram o Bastion? Lançaram aquele personagem novo lá, o Bastion? Sim. Lançaram o Bastion. Vamos falar aqui com a paz. Oi. A barriga tá boa de novo.
One of the group birthday parties. They are something to look forward to every month. Miller was so funny at this one. When is the party this month?
Não sei nem que mês é.
I cannot remember. It was. And then no, that is not right. But I am an angel of peace. I am a student. I am so tired. I will just lie here a while.
Ah, aqui o galho pinto. Nossa, o tamanho do feijão, mano. Aliás, Strange Love. Fala alguma coisa. Isso, galo pinto. Não adianta, mano. A quinta série escuta pinto, eu já fico. Ai, que engraçado, mano. Que engraçadão. Tem alguma coisa pra... Tem não, né? Vou fazer um bagulho aqui ainda, nossa. Ainda não creio que eu matei o Strange Love. Ele ficou meio lelé da cuca, velho. Na real, que eu entendi, ele não matou. O que eu entendi foi que ela se matou. Só que ao mesmo tempo parece que ele não fez muita coisa pra evitar. Sei lá, tá esquisito. Ele deu duas versões da história, as duas são sus, então, exatamente. Bom, querendo ou não, o Otakun não é nem um pouco parecido com o Rui. Porque o Otakun nunca deu as costas pro Snake, velho. Eles eram um brother, eles tinham até um toquinho de mão. O Otaku nunca teve uma namorada. Como não? E o Snake? Puta que pariu! As crianças tudo fugiu, você quer dizer, né, jogo? Você foi pro Afeganistão agora, mano.
Please select a landing zone.
Se eu vim pra cá, qual é a chance de dar merda? Ah, caguei.
To Afghanistan.
Ah, desculpa, teve Snake, é... Poxa.
Deploying.
E mano, você vai ficar triste porque arrumar um Torb. Putz. Bom, pelo menos eu posso jogar na ranqueada com ele agora. Eu sinceramente nem tava spamando aquele glitch, eu não lembrava. Eu não lembrava de usar. Era poucas as vezes que eu lembrava. Lula. Que? Ô porra. Lula. O que? As crianças estão escutando essa música de longe, ele já ficou tipo, tá em choque já. Tá sendo feito ainda. Eu ia mandar um low e mandei um... Ah, tá, entendi. Você falou que tinha... É verdade, tem 4 roupas aqui pra ser feito. Não, eu já fiz isso. Ah, das roupas lá era do sul. É, parasita, isso daqui mesmo. Eu vou fazer porque... Por que não? Me faltou um... Bandana. A bandana dela, resgatada do lago Nicarágua e restaurada com amor. Diminui a ocorrência de ferimentos graves. A bandana. A bandana. Mas tem que upar. Verdade, eu tava sentindo falta de uma coisa do Snake. É que lembra que no Peace Walker lá, quando a boss, né, robô, tava afundando lá, daí o Big Boss, como um gesto de deixar o luto de lado, jogou a bandana junto com o robô na água. Meu Deus do céu. Que susto, velho. E aí? Não vai. Ah, não vai. Não vai. Meu irmão? Ufa! Um segundo eu fui abrir o Overlord pra ver como tá as quests. Eu aviso quando voltar. Aqui? Ah, tá bom, entendi agora. Cara, acho que eu não vou conseguir salvar essa criança aqui. Precisava do Fulton agora.
A child has died.
Quebrou inteiro a criança.
Boss, you killed a child.
Não, ela caiu.
This mission.
Ah, eu preciso do Fulton ali pra salvar a criança, senão não tem como.
According to the intel team, the escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them. Boss, if we develop a child-sized Fulton recovery device, you'll be able to extract those kids. Send the development order from your iDroid.
16 minutos, então eu vou...
Please select a mission.
Começa a fotografia da última transmissão de informática, resgate o tubo de filme que contém informações confidenciais. Vou fazer o seguinte, então, nesses 16 minutos que eu tenho que esperar a criança aqui, eu vou... Acho que eu vou pra cá, ouvir até vir pra cá e ouvir as fitas. Na real, não sei se você tá no chat, então não vai dar pra ouvir a fita. Não, de qualquer forma, eu tenho que ir lá. Na real, mano, acho que eu só vou chamar meu cavalo.
Please select a drop dispatch requested.
Foi.
Buddy departing area of operations.
Tô vendo, mas tô abrindo Overwatch. Ah, bom, então vou botar a fita. Da gravação secreta de Skullface e Cold Talker.
Buddy has arrived.
Ja, at e. You disappoint me.
Não consigo entrar no server do Overwatch.
My face.
É, tá com problema então.
Leave me be.
Ou tá em manutenção na real.
You won't respond to anyone else, so I figured it must be me you wanted to see. But now you won't even look at me.
Have I not suffered enough?
Not until you've eased my suffering first.
Atualização,
To tell
é.
you the truth, old man, I'm in a bit of a bind. It's about your children. You know what I mean? The parasites. The ones that infect a man's throat, killing him if he speaks their language.
They must not be allowed to multiply.
You are allowed to live only in order to help me. But you don't want to, do you? So why not choose death instead? Because you want to protect the Diné and their land from me. That's your purpose, isn't it? Don't lose sight of that now. It's in your interest to cooperate. Because if you don't,
Madness.
The parasites can't detect your people's tongue, so I'll just have to resort to more heavy-handed means. I have the greatest respect for your people. I would rather avoid such a thing, but
Vai abrir o jogo.
we don't
Ok.
always get our way. I was born a tiny mote in a mighty tempest, and until those winds abate, all I can choose is how to act when they blow me this way or that. Tell me, Code Talker, what happens to a man infected with a pair of your parasites? Can they be removed? Can the full-blown symptoms be prevented?
It is impossible to remove the parasites alone. They have too close an affinity with humans.
Then how do you stop the symptoms from developing? All right. I was hoping for an answer now, but perhaps you just need a little more time. I'll be back soon. I've set up shop, not far from here. We'll be seeing a lot more of each other.
If you're
Nem tô ouvindo, só não vou conseguir falar no chat. Ok.
it is almost complete.
We're in the final phases. All that's left is to see if I can actually disable a nuke, with the help of your metallic archaea. Once that's done, I won't have to return here again. And your suffering will end, as will your people's. We're almost finished, Code Talker. Each in our own way.
My only regret will be not finishing you.
There's nothing stopping you. I'm only alive because you want me that way.
Ridiculous.
As you wish. My regret is this misunderstanding between us. You and I, our goal is the same. We should be working together. A symbiosis.
You do not know my mind. I simply want the Diné bloodline to endure.
Really now? You're just another mote in the storm. How you react to all the slings and arrows, that's what counts. That's why you call those squirming monsters your children.
What I have done is forbidden. Forgive me, all of you.
The world should be left the way it is. You of all men should know that.
Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Nossa, a fita tem 10 minutos.
Forgive me, but my schedule has changed.
Programa de login.
The time for grace and good manners has now run out.
Ou tá tendo atualização mesmo, só que tá coisado.
Torture will not work on me. Surely you know this.
Oh, I have no intention of getting rough with you. You haven't been beaten. Your hands aren't even tied. Just like me, you live in symbiosis with countless parasites. What wounds I might inflict, they'll patch right up. You might feel considerable pain, but I've no doubt you can withstand it.
Then what do you plan on doing?
I have a soldier
Não
standing
entrei, recebi
outside.
coisas, eles me quicaram quando fui logado de volta, pedi o e-mail e a
Except that
senha.
he
Ih,
always obeys. I have given him one instruction. Whenever I ring this bell, he passes on a message for me. That message is simply, go.
What is this?
After that, though, it gets complicated. The message will arrive at a room, a little bigger than this one, nothing special. Some of your people are in this room, surrounded by my men.
Enough of this.
They pick them at random, no regard for age, gender. In that, I suppose, they're different from you, not as discriminating. They tied them up, one by one, blindfolded them. We had to maintain order, you understand?
You bastard.
Go. When they hear that, my men will pick one of your people and infect them with a parasite. Your parasite.
It won't work on my people.
True. The vocal cord parasite doesn't respond to your language. But what about English?
An English strain. It exists.
A ring of this bell, and they infect one person. If that person abandons the Navajo language, the English strain will trigger symptoms.
You monster.
So, it's quite simple. Every time I ring the bell, another of your people is infected.
Don't do this.
I don't want to do this. I'd rather not have to ring the bell. Which is why I'm hoping you will talk to me.
Jogador na minha frente, sinto que já tinha logado 10 de 10. Olha só, os caras voltaram com esse problema, mano.
What else could you possibly want?
You know the answer to that. How to prevent the symptoms caused by the parasite.
You cannot control it like some slave. Forget the idea.
Forget it? Unlikely.
I will never tell you. What have you done?
You made me do that.
You black-hearted.
Settle down.
Don't use it again.
Well, that is up to you. All you need to do is tell me what I want. How to prevent the vocal cord parasite symptoms.
Why? Why do you need to know?
The adult soldiers at Gualayamasa are all dead.
What?
The parasite traveled downstream.
How?
It would appear that he was involved. Another demon who woke up from 9
700? Não, com certeza os caras fecharam alguns servers.
Spread through the village.
I told you this would happen.
It was an unfortunate accident. He is becoming an annoyance. He may stumble upon the truth sooner or later, but I suppose that is really of no consequence. One day, he too will pay for what he has done.
Black Anna. The real demon is you.
You know, this incident made me realize something. You are right. I should have acted with more humility. These creatures cannot be controlled. All the more reason I require a means to stop them.
There is no such way.
Oh, really?
Wait. Don't ring it again.
It is up to you. Out with it.
I see now. There must be more to it than that.
Ali.
They are in you. You use this land to breed more of my children. And not just here. No. In pursuit of your ethnic cleansers. You sifted through many language strains. Finding hosts. Breeding more and more. You would have been infected in the process. Infected with countless strains. Most likely your mother tongues as well. Romania, northern Transylvania. You found that one too. Yes, the Hungarian strain that responds to the CK's dialect.
Silence!
Black Anna. It is you who shall pay.
Is this your retaliation, old man?
Let my people go and never bother them again. You heard me. What now? What? No! What are you doing?
I am not afraid. I probably have every language strain inside of me. Meaning all the world's languages are already lost to me. But that suits me fine. If need be, I myself can produce whatever strain is needed.
And that means nothing to you. If you are infected, you can never again speak your mother tongue. Otherwise, you will die. As will every one of your countrymen.
A few words here and there won't trigger the symptoms. And besides, the time is not yet right to
Ops.
peace in my homeland. Not until my revenge is complete. Now...
Stop!
We're out of time. I have to get going. Well...
No! Radiation. It's radiation.
Radiation, of course. So it can be used.
But how much? I do not know.
Radiation denatures their reproductive cells, preventing them from mating.
Same principle as the sterilization technique. The reproductive cells are more sensitive to radiation than the rest of the body. But I have not tested it. There is no telling what mutation could result, or how the host may be affected. Not to mention what could happen if this is done post-infection.
I don't care. This plan goes into action now. As long as it works, the details can wait. You wouldn't be lying to me, of course, old man.
I can guarantee nothing.
I owe you my life. My body has been burned on countless occasions, but it survives, thanks to your children. That is why I trust you.
Then do not repeat my mistake.
What's that?
In the West, it is said that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In the East, it is said the man of flesh brings spiritual power to words. The people knew back then that these creatures carry the gospel. They do not belong in our hands. They must not be touched.
How enlightening. I'll remember that. Consider this my thanks.
What are you?
Catch.
No!
Ai, caceta, até derrubei tudo aqui, velho. Pronto. Ixi, calma aí, tá tendo ligação agora. Oh, desastre. Calma aí. Aí eu voltei. Ixi, não vou conseguir ver o chat como é. Ok, tem bastante missão do evento de Halloween, mas a skin daquele tá bem mais de R$100. Credo, então ninguém vai comprar, isso quer dizer.
Well then, I'm afraid it really is goodbye this time, Code Talker.
Please select a left. Support helicopter requested.
Roger.
There is no soldier.
Huh. Now where did he run off to? Guess he wasn't as obedient as I thought.
There never was any soldier.
So long.
Nossa, mentiu, velho.
How dare you!
Play like a damn fiddle.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Só que era a skin que eu queria, porque veio com cartão e nome que combina com a minha skin de Mercy. Putz. Mas mano, não sei não se os caras vão continuar com esse preço. Bom, eles vão continuar com esse preço se o povo continuar comprando, né? Se os caras continuar pagando por um preço tão alto assim, pra eles tá tudo bem, eles vão continuar vendendo esse preço. Mas que eu vejo, a maioria, eu tô dizendo isso dos gringos. Aqui do BR não tem nem como contar. Mas os gringos estão reclamando do preço. E parece que é uma boa porcentagem até. Então sei lá. Quando eu vi isso do Overwatch Brasil, o povo tá reclamando também. Ah, no Brasil eu não preciso nem ter dúvidas que o povo vai reclamar. É um preço muito alto, é extremamente alto. Tá, agora que o meu Fulton está completo, eu posso pegar a criança.
Select a landing zone.
Cadê? Ai, caramba. Ué, não era pra estar pronto já? Ali, criança, achei.
Deploying.
Ah, vai espirrar de novo. Tá com rinite. Pior que eu real queria as duas skins, porque a da Cricket e da Junker Queen achei bonitão também. Mas dá 300 contos as duas, não tem como, então, isso que eu tô falando, tipo, não cabe o preço, velho. Você não tinha feito a roupa nova também? Sim, mas não deu tempo ainda. Tinha feito bem depois, eu acho que faltam uns 10 minutos ainda. Deixa eu ver.
Plant expansion complete. Please specify a project.
Aqui, ó. 13 minutos. Eu não lembro onde estava a criança.
Buddy has infiltrated and the map has been updated.
Ah, ali. Mas o urso tá ali de volta. Agora eu sei porque a criança tá lá em cima também. Olha o urso aqui embaixo. Agora que eu vi, tem mais um urso ali.
The map has been updated.
Pegando os posts do Overwatch no Twitter, é todo mundo pedindo pra voltar ao modelo Overwatch 1 lootbox e diminuir o preço. Que, né, tá bem melhor daquele jeito antes do que agora, velho. E diz que depois a gente vai ver o urso no zoológico. Sim, né? Óbvio. Dá pra ver ele lá. Era legal juntar as moedinhas, pelo menos, saca? Você ganhando partida ou perdendo partida, você ganhar uma moedinha lá pra juntar, pra pegar skin. Agora não sobrou nada, velho. Não, é pra eu subir, caralho. Vai lá, piá.
Side op completed. Side ops list updated.
Okay, subject is in.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Please support helicopter
Roger.
requested.
Não é só a gente que tá tendo problema com a fila estar desbalanceado. O povo dessa ranqueada também tá reclamando. Sim, porque tá escroto, mano. Tá muito errado. E não é pouco.
Quiet.
Ela deu um joinha.
Arriving shortly at LZ.
Espera aí. Aí. Vamos lá, salvar mais crianças. Pô, salvar essas crianças tá sendo um porre, mano. É sempre um lugar mais longe que o outro, velho. Porque essas crianças não foram embora. Ah, olha, tem mais uma aqui da paz. Vou pegar a cartinha pra paz. Deixa eu ver aqui. Muito provavelmente ele vai estar bem no meio. Talvez na cachoeira. O burro. Dorme. Dormiu. Ah, o burro. Ai. What the fuck? Tomei uma cabeçada. O burro me deu uma cabeçada. Pior que eu tomei um susto ali com o burro. Pior que me assustou. Pelo visto a paz não achou. Tá meio escondido esse, hein?
The map has been updated.
Onde?
Map has been updated. Marker placed.
Ah, um dos drops do mês que vem é uma caneca de cerveja do Reinhardt. De verdade? What the fuck?
Begin cover fire.
Analysis.
That's the target. I remember him. He was off base during the attack 9 years ago. Bring him home, boss.
Nice.
Cease cover fire.
Óbvio que não há.
Please select cider landings of cider list updated.
Mas que pena.
Arrived at mother base. Support helicopter requested.
Mas o print que postaram com o Ren segurando a caneca ficou muito bom. Eu nem sabia que ele não tinha essa da caneca.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Ele tem, mas agora é um daqueles itens que todo mundo pode segurar, sabe? Ah, então todo mundo vai tá com isso equipado, então.
Extraction arrived at mother base.
Entregar o negocinho lá então pra paz.
Please select a landing
Só que eu vou de
heading to mother base.
Eu vou de carro, porque daí eu escuto uma fita pelo caminho. Se bem que as fitas andam ficando bem longas, né? Tipo, uma fita, 4 minutos. A última que a gente ouviu, uma fita era 10 minutos. Só achei estranho que o modo novo não tem nenhum achievement. Ué, eles tiraram? Nossa, mano, mas preguiçoso, né? Bota umas conquistas ali, o que custa? Ah, é, porque daí ia ser gratuito, né? Aí não vale a pena. Se não custa 100 reais, não vale a pena pôr. Tipo, os antigos tem achievements pro spray, mas o novo não tem. É, porque tem que comprar spray. Pô, sinceramente, tô enjoando. Vamos trocar. Bota isso. Tira essa música, pelo amor de Deus, senão eu vou tomar um strike bem legal. Pra cá, plataforma médica. O strike vai vir voando, literalmente vai vir voando o strike. Eu já meti uma fita. É das crianças? Todos são importantes. Aí tem os hambúrgueres.
Boss, we gave Ralph, that kid who died in the accident, a burial at sea. The man in charge of that facility has been severely punished. But ever since, the kids have been acting strange. It's obvious they've lost their trust in adults. I was getting reports of them ignoring the staff, or getting insolent, and even violent. And a few days later, several of the kids did a disappearing act. They snuck into choppers and shipping containers and got off base. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. These kids were born in a war zone and forced to grow up as war fighters. If they're left alone, war is how they'll die. But I thought we showed them there are other reasons to live. I never liked having children on Mother Base. But the thought of them going back to the battlefield and picking up their old lifestyle is something I can't stomach. It makes me think of Chico, 9 years ago. We have to get those kids back. Hell, they know too much about our operation. I never expected even the kids to betray us.
Fiz as contas, dá R$230 as duas skins novas. 230 reais a gente consegue comprar muita comida até. Quer dizer, não muito hoje em dia, né? Tá foda comprar comida hoje em dia. Mas come.
Snake, you remember the White Mamba? Of course, he's been going by Eli since we brought him on base. He was the leader of the child soldier unit we took out of that village and into our protection. Well, according to the kids you brought back here, all the escapees were especially close to Eli. There's reason to suspect he's behind all 6 escapes. We've already detained him. I'll be questioning him shortly.
Wait. You'll be?
Ocelot.
You're incapable of taking an impartial stance with those kids. Question them all you want. It'll get you nowhere.
Ocelot, you get too many kicks from your art of interrogation.
It's not a matter of art. It's about quick, minimal strokes of psychological warfare. That's what gets the answers. And it's the best way to keep both questioner and subject safe. The risks only increase the more an interrogation drags on. At that point, it causes as much pain to the inflictor as the inflicted.
Like I said, too many kicks.
What I'm trying to tell you is we need quick results. Otherwise, it'll be too little, too late.
I know that.
And besides, I know the subject. I won't go overboard with a kid.
Forget it. You're not needed. Snake, we'll want to question the other kids too. Be sure to bring them all back.
Caralho, vamos interrogar as crianças. Pior que é mais fácil comprar o cartão da Blizzard e dividir pra poder comprar as skins do que comprar pela Blizzard. Eu não daria o dinheiro nem se fosse dividido, mano. Porque daí só vai reforçar o dos caras continuar vendendo pelo mesmo preço.
Oh, Snake! What is it, Snake?
Tófia.
The Costa Rican Sea. It is so beautiful. Costa Rica means rich coast. Please, please, get them out of my country. Them? Huh? Who was I thinking of? It was... And then No, that is not right. But I am an angel of peace. I
Menina esperando a fantasia faz tempo.
I'm sorry, Snake. My head hurts.
Mas parece que ela tá começando a mastigar melhor.
Let me rest.
Parece que ela tá mastigando melhor. Qual que é a foto nova? Ah, aqui. Caralho, quem deu cerveja pra menina? Tá, que ela já era adulta, mas... Porra, todo mundo achava que ela tinha uns 16, 17. A Lupinto, é verdade.
Please landing zone.
Roger.
Não terminaram a plataforma. Pam, 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 pam. Porque a Paz deu mais uma fita aqui. Vamos salvar outra criança. Por que tão longe, velho? Vai tomar no rabo.
Please select a landing zone.
Vai
Heading to
aqui.
Afghanistan.
Aqui a roupa nova. O chifrinho ali na... O chifrinho na máscara. Isso permite ativar as mesmas habilidades especiais que os caveiras. Ou seja, apelão.
Deploying.
Pum, 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 tum, tum, tum. Achei que a gente ia testar a roupa nova. Testar aquela roupinha nova. Eu boto ela então. Eu vou só salvar a criança, não. Aí eu já mostro como é que é a roupa. Não costumo usar muito essas roupas que fogem muito fora da curva, velho. Que não parece também muito stealth. Quanto mais básico pra mim, melhor.
Please select a drop point. Please select a drop point. Supplies requested.
Você usou outras vezes o dos primeiros Metal Gear. Não, mano. Mas foi pouco em ocasiões específicas. Pô, a maioria das vezes eu tô usando essas daqui que eu, por exemplo. Pô. Pô. Não sei como é que faz os bagulho novo. Aí eu vou espirrar. Ai, ai, ai. Agora que eu notei que o braço do Snake não tava coberto, tanto que ele se ralou ali. Putz. Nossa, que bosta que tá rinite, velho. Eu odeio o calor. Tá. Se a criança... Cara, eu acho que eu vou primeiro ir naquelas casinhas de prisioneiro. Vou naquelas casinhas de prisioneiro primeiro. Porque ele tá de fio dental, ele tá? Nossa, ele tá mesmo.
Eli confessed. The way he tells it, they wanted to go back to the battlefield. Don't rob them of their freedom, he said. If you bring them all back, there will be consequences. Next to be asking for our surrender.
Consequences? What consequences?
No idea. That's all I have for now.
You're too attached to those kids. Stop protecting Eli.
Listen to yourself.
Let me question him, and we'll get some real answers.
Not necessary. I'll report as and when.
A criança tá lá, velho.
Boss, we found weapons in the children's section of the living quarters. As you know, weapons are strictly off limits. We've got some rule breakers. The weapons we found were handmade. Blades ground out of knives and forks, a couple of bow guns built out of scrap, and explosives made using detergents. And get this, the explosives were tightly packed with nails. The kids put the blame on, you guessed it, Eli. I guess that's what.
Não tô conseguindo levar nada a sério com essa roupa, por isso que eu não uso.
This time he claimed they want to be put out on missions. Send us to the battlefield, he says.
Miller, enough is enough. You've protected him too much already. It's my turn to question him.
Protected?
What Eli's doing is issuing
É a roupa dental ali, ó.
comply with my
Fiozinho.
demands or I'll respond with force. But it'll be war at this rate. Forks and soap aren't gonna kill us, but some of them will end up dead. Is that what you want? Now, I hate to say it, but they want to be on the battlefield. It's time you gave up this fantasy.
Eli, he said they'd rise up against us if we bring the last kid back.
There, you see? Ignore his demands. Don't let him return to quarters. That attitude is contagious. We'd lose control over them for good.
For the time being, we've confiscated those handmade weapons. We're bumping up security and the number of psychiatric counselors. As for Eli,
he needs some very special care.
You mean solitary?
Well, we can't leave him in contact with the other kids. If you won't do it, I will. Boss, keep working on extracting those kids.
Prenderam o Liquid. Tá de castigo.
I finally had a decent draft of the lyrics, so I showed them to Professor Galvez first. He liked them. He said I had done a superb job capturing the sense of a young girl's troubled heart. There were one or two lines I thought needed brushing up. So although he said lyrics aren't my specialty at first, he gave me some advice. Everything he said made perfect sense. When I tried putting in his changes, they made the song feel deeper, more sincere. That is the professor for you. He always has the answer. With the lyrics finished, I was ready to... He does not often take things seriously, but all of a sudden, he was saying, "Pat, you have the soul of an Enka songwriter." And I did not even listen to Enka. Maybe I am pretty talented after all. But still, it took so much time to
Colocaram o Liquid de castigo finalmente. Demorou.
left to rehearse before Peace Day. The three of us rushed into the makeshift practice studio on Mother Base to see how we sounded together. Miller strummed away with a big smile on his face.
sang the main melody, and Professor Galvin improvised a backup melody. I know the professor is smart, but is there anything he cannot do? And Miller's guitar playing sounded a lot better now that he stopped singing. But I can hardly criticize his voice. I thought I had learned the song well enough listening to the tape as I wrote the lyrics, but I had trouble with the pitch and kept missing the rhythm. I have to practice, but there's almost no time left. It is just 3 days until Peace Day. Wait, I thought there were 3 days left before. I went and checked today's date with Miller and the professor. The date has not changed. It is the same day. Something is strange. Am I reliving the same day?
E a criança tá anotando. Quer dizer, véia. Hambúrguer, agora as fitas mais importantes.
I have spoken enough. Your men can take it from here. Will you permit me to rest? Have something to eat?
I thought you don't eat.
Finalmente a porra dos hambúrguer.
Without food. But there is more to the act of eating than nourishment. We receive nature's blessings and reaffirm our part in it. And in doing so, we express our gratitude.
Sorry, it's hearing you say you don't need to eat and that you're part of nature in the same breath. Anyway, what can we get you? Not exactly a 5-star restaurant, but the kitchen's used to serving a lot of different appetites.
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers?
Even we didn't have become Americanized. I eat them often back home.
And you just can't let them go. Well, as far as symbols of the American Empire go, hamburgers are pretty good. Victory of capitalism. You people suffered so much at the hands of America. You have
Roger.
We have suffered more than you can know. But I do not see hamburgers as an accomplice. A single dish, providing a balanced helping of nature's blessings. Meat, grain, and vegetable. How could anyone hate such a magnificent thing?
Says the guy who can survive on photosynthesis. Balance has nothing to do with it. Just like a good burger.
That is also true. Be warned, though. I have very high standards.
Tinha a porra da bomba, velho.
Don't worry. I do too. Alright then. One good old-fashioned all-American icon coming up.
I look forward to it.
Já bota outra fita, eu vou salvar a última criança e daí eu vou botar a fita, daí eu vou terminar na live. Cara, não consegue mesmo? Tem que esperar. Nossa, agora que eu vi que a sola do pé é dourado. Mano, essa roupinha, velho. Não, agora que eu vi, olha o zóio. O zoinho, mano. Né, quarto? Ah, aqui. Puta merda, aqui é mó rolê, velho. Trocar essa roupinha aqui. Tem esse daqui que eu nem usei, velho. Traje de batalha. Porra, mano, essa live de hoje foi o que? Fita e salvar a criança, é isso. Perdi o hambúrguer do caso porque minha internet caiu. Putz. Bom, ainda tem a segunda fita. A primeira fita você pode ver no Void. É que daí eu vou, depois de salvar essa criança e pegar a segunda fita, daí eu vou terminar a live. Ah, tem mais uma da criança. Vamos lá.
The kids you brought back to base have laid out the situation. They all escaped to each of their home villages, or were trying to get home, and lost their way. Not that homesickness is gonna explain everything we've seen.
Each of their home villages. They were trying to raise troops for the rebellion.
You really think these kids have an armed uprising in them?
You read the report of the security team member who had a rock thrown at him. There'll be a riot if we don't do something. And Miller, this is because you didn't act fast enough.
Fine. I'll admit you were right this time.
Seal off the kids' quarters from outside contact before it's too late.
All right.
Eli said his rebellion would start when the last kid is brought back, right? You better be ready to meet him head on if it really happens.
Yeah.
You should have left it to me in the first place.
Boss, they're just kids. We have a responsibility to see that those kids make it. It's not about feeling protective or the pros and cons. I hate kids. That's exactly what I heard from the people who raised me.
Os dois não se deu nem um pouco. É, não tô não.
That's the spark that kept me going, you know? I wanted to show those adults what I was made of. Wanted to get back at them one day. Before I knew it, I was all grown up. Never saw it coming. All of a sudden, people treated me as an adult. Some adult I turned out to be. But I feel like if my life had been different, if the adults I knew had been different, I could have grown up better. Yeah, that's it, all right. I wanted to use those kids to test that theory. That's all this was. From their point of view, I'm no different from the assholes who gave me a hard time. When this is all blown over, I'll talk it out with them. If that's still possible. Boss, there are still kids out there. Bring them back safe.
Boss, it's me. Eli's revealed what he wants.
According to the intel team, the escaped kids should be around here. Locate and secure them.
Bring my father here.
Cara, eu só queria, saca, ouvir a fita.
All we know for sure is his... Man, Eli's too speechless. He wants to... Boss, it's me. Eli's revealed what he wants. He wants to speak with you. With Big Boss. He just said, bring my father here. Eli's too smart for his own good. No way to tell what he's thinking. All we know for sure is his men are important to him. That means we can use the escaped kids as leverage in any negotiation. Once you brought the last one back, I'll interrogate him. If the kids do rise up, we'll meet them full force in the story. I didn't want things to turn out like this. We could have prevented it, but
Pelo menos
it's too
sabe
late
que é o
now.
pai deles.
If Eli means to take this all the way, he's gonna force us to do the same. Boss, go get that last kid.
Vou lá pegar a última criança. Tem um jeito mais fácil de subir lá? Não tem. Eu vou sentar a porrada em todo mundo ali. É tudo zumba. Ah, é, hambúrguer.
I hope you bought a better hamburger this time, Kazuhira.
Right. Well,
The last one was lacking in every way.
Que isso?
The patty was too thin, the bun too dry, and the lettuce days old at best.
hey, that was 100% all beef patty, and no shortening in the bun either.
Nature's blessings, unadulterated, in hamburger form. Is that it? But when taste falls short, so does our gratitude to nature. Making such precious blessings
O hambúrguer não tava muito bom, pois é.
I hate to admit it, but I think you're right. I should have known better than to settle for second best. That's why I had him run some more R&D, develop a new burger. In fact, one of our researchers just dropped by with the latest results. Here it is. See how you like this?
we shall see indeed. I thank you for this bounty, Mother Earth.
Porra, não consigo tirar.
So, what's the verdict?
Not bad,
And
but it does not hold a candle to what I ate back home.
everyone's a critic. Damn it. I'm sure the Kobe beef. But maybe we didn't have enough. If we had any more, we're cutting into our profits.
Profits?
We'll be taking a loss on every unit.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
O cara dorme infinitamente.
anyway, I'll be back with another round of product.
I will be waiting. Did you say product?
Cease cover fire.
O velho exigente, mano. Pros hambúrguer. Dá aqui? Não dá. Aqui. A última criança. Vai, Pia.
I have a quick report for you here. We've discovered a radiation leak in the laboratory on the quarantine platform. It's coming from testing equipment we installed the other day. Members of the medical team have been conducting research there, but we'll evacuate them all from the research block to the containment block next to it. Emmerich.
There's no need to worry. No radioactive material is leaked, so the contamination won't spread. We just need to seal off the testing equipment.
I've dispatched a security team to get the researchers out. I'll keep you updated.
Ih, deu alguma coisa ruim na quarentena.
Select a landing zone.
Sério que o cara quer vender hambúrguer? Pô, se dá dinheiro, né? Ele vai vender. O que tá escrito aqui? Fatura obtida.
Please select a delivery point.
Me leva num lugar mais fácil de chamar o helicóptero. Talvez por aqui. Ah, eu tenho que coletar nos bagulho, aí eu posso me mandar. Por enquanto eu não posso. Ah, bom, entendi.
Please select a landing zone. Support helicopter requested.
Alter Bugger. Alter Bugger. Prig. Alter Bugger. Pronto. Ou dá pra lançar um quiosquinho chamado assim, hein? Alter Bugger. Alter Bugger. Vai vender? Tá, deu checkpoint, foda-se, eu vou... Tá muito longe, eu vou voltar pelo menu. Depois que der o checkpoint tá salvo, eu posso voltar pelo menu. E foda-se. Todos os hambúrguer vai ter um dos personagens do Metal Gear. Oh, não é uma má ideia também. Tem mais essa missão, tem que fazer essas douradas. Op paralela tem só esses daqui que eu tenho que fazer do 1 ao 45. Até agora nada da Quiet. Peguei todas as cria. Vamos ver agora se tem alguma coisa. Bom, deixa eu pegar esse daqui antes. Acho que agora não vai dar erro. Deixa eu ir pra Mother Base, ver se tem cena nova, porque eu salvei todas as crianças. Se não tiver, tudo bem, eu volto pro helicóptero pra ver se tem outra cena durante o helicóptero. Se não tiver, tudo bem, eu vou terminar a live. Eu já falei que aqui tinha um lugar que vendia hambúrguer do Naruto, né? Eu não lembro. Quer dizer, eu lembro, mas não lembro. Não tinha tipo uma hamburgueria que tinha um desenho do Naruto na parede? Tinha no jornal uma vez, meu Deus. Também? Ah, então tô meio que lembrado. E tem até hoje? Tipo, funciona ainda? Não faliu? Cara, eu consegui pelo menos ouvir todas as fitas hoje. Foi 2 horas e 43 de live, mas todo esse tempo eu tava ouvindo fita, basicamente. Sei lá, eu nem lembro o nome do lugar. Ah, tá. É Narutinho. Wait for you. Isso é a mesma coisa que o Kojima faz bem? Fanservice. É, com certeza. Mas é isso por hoje. Talvez eu faça mais tarde, mas bem difícil. Porque eu quero dar mais uma adiantada aqui no jogo, quero terminar essa semana. Mas vamos ver. Eu acho que não vou, mas... é isso então. Por agora chega. Porque pelo menos a Quiet não é a única que tá de fio dental. O Snake também tem um. É. Pode ficar sem camiseta também. Mas é isso, vou indo então. Tchau, tchau, até.